Ah, yes, BioWare, a beloved game studio, creators of one of the biggest RPG series in existence. Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. Oh, and I guess they did Dragon Age 2, but Mass Effect. Such a wonderful game by a wonderful studio full of captivating characters, an inspirational lead, a beautiful galaxy to explore, and dialogue that will make you cry.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
BioWare, in my opinion, has never truly failed its fans, not with the Mass Effect 3 ending, and not even truly with Andromeda. So now it's time to look at their newest project, Anthem. Okay, but before we start, let's just look at their amazing new logo intro. Ah yes, now this is epic. Anthem is a shared open-world RPG sci-fi shooter where you play as a freelancer, people who pilot exosuits known as javelins around a post-apocalyptic world to defend their home from the things outside of it that want to rip your arms off and maybe even eat you alive. Now, Anthem has gotten some mixed reviews, but those have all been resolved and will be discussed at the very end of the video. So starting off in the beta, you're level 10, and you have access to 2 missions and some of the very fun open-world content. You start off in Fort Tersis, a stronghold for humanity, putting on some sort of weird glove. Then you get lost in the super lively and immersive area full of people running around and, telling you about how cool you are. Eventually you make your way to your javelin and you hop in to explore a beautiful world full of plants, scenery, and a giant thing that wants to murder you. And this is where my first point begins. Now, you see, this is the kind of big guy you don't want to fight on the ground. Just look at those arms. But, luckily, Anthem lets you take to the sky so you can easily fight on a 4D battlefield. Whee! Look at me! I'm an airplane! This makes it extremely easy to avoid heavy melee targets, get to a resting place above them, then pull the whole,
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground!
Along with this form of combat, each suit has its own suit ability, the Ranger being a flurry of tracer missiles, the Storms, 3 different heavy-hitting elemental attacks,
That's a lot of damage!
and the Colossus being pulling out a giant missile launcher and then blowing everything up in a very large radius. These all fit for how these classes work in combat. It's amazing how they made each class so similar yet so different. The Ranger can do everything. It can fight on the ground, running around, close or far, or even deal damage just while hovering above the battlefield. It is truly the most versatile of all javelins. It even has a decent amount of speed on its side, which helps in most scenarios. The Storm is the pure definition of a glass cannon. You can try fighting on the ground, yeah, but inevitably you need to take to the skies. The suit has a very long flight time, especially when it comes to hovering, and your shields are boosted while you hover, making staying alive a little easier while you blow everything up with very, very visually pleasing elemental attacks that honestly, whenever you use the lightning one, it does kind of make you want to scream because it's pretty scary. And then the Colossus, well, you kind of just shoot everything with rockets or a Gatling gun. That's what it gives you from the get-go. It's pretty great. Or you can just charge in and punch everything, because you are a giant hulking tanky beast. The flight is honestly amazing. Yes, you are limited on it, but the cool thing is, your suit's heat is environmentally affected. If you fly near water, it either instantly cools you or keeps your heat from increasing at all. That makes exploration a little more in-depth than it would be. Because, along with that, if you fly straight down, naturally you're not using your boosters at all. So they said, hey, let's make it to where their heat doesn't increase at all, because it just doesn't make sense to do that. The flight, though, this is something that might get to people, is not 1-1 with your mouse. Meaning that as your mouse moves, your javelin does not directly follow with it. Instead, there is a small circle that represents your mouse, and it's built like a flight simulator, which is more accurate to how it would normally work for an actual plane. Your javelin follows along that path that you lead with it on an arc. Now, most people go, oh, this is weird, I don't like it. Well, in reality, it's actually a more effective way to do it because it makes maneuvering a little easier. If you were to whip your mouse aggressively with it being 1-1 with it, your suit would flail about like crazy, and it would make controlling it a lot more tedious than with it built like this. Along with the flight, there's an underwater aspect. You are in a submarine. You are a submarine, yes. It really, so far, there's not much to do underwater. I wish you could fish. I want to catch some of these giant things you see down here. But there are treasure chests you can find and things like that. So it is a very interesting exploration part of this game. Now time to talk about the reason this demo or beta was very controversial to the community. There were a few very difficult to deal with bugs. The two main ones being just the flat out lag and the infinite loading screen. Now the devs have confirmed that both of these are fixed, so no need to worry about that. And in the full game they'll be gone. The infinite loading was a client-side issue, so they couldn't get it out with the VIP beta, but they will for the public, I'm assuming, once they're able to release a patch. And all the latency stuff was basically BioWare going, hey, we've never made an online game like this before. Let's see what happens, and then everything broke. And they fixed it, and they're fixing it even more as we speak, most likely. Even with that, because I'm able to put that aside because I was able to play the game, I give this game probably a 9 to 10 out of 10. This is really fun. From a very critical standpoint, I would give it closer to an 8 out of 10. Now, I hate rating things on a scale out of 10 because my personal scale is a little different to the overall scale, so that's why with that rating, I'm looking at it solely from a technical side. Gameplay, it is a straight up 10 out of 10 for me, but from a technical side, it's an 8. Just because currently there are a few balancing issues they do need to work out. Now, of course, that is the purpose of a beta. They will listen to people and they will fix what they want. I think the Colossus is a little too flimsy for a tank, but it's still definitely a tank. It's just very minor issues like that. There are some background optimization issues, such as where my computer should not be having to work as hard as it should in some spots, but it's not affecting my frames at all or anything. It's basically just me going, hey, I'm snobby, make my computer better, faster, stronger, harder, you know. Now, all these things are very, very minute. They don't affect my gameplay experience at all. And I personally think the game is very, very fun. I'm very excited to see how BioWare is going to put a story into this, and I'm very excited to see how the game plays out as it's released fully and all the content comes together, because there is very heavy customization with your weapons and your abilities and all those things with your javelins that I'm really excited to see unfold. So hopefully it turns out to be a very good game, and you should all try out the public beta that starts on the 1st.